Alright guys, I was thinking how we spin this one today, because I look at it from two perspectives, because I want to keep them all positive, and I recognise that I keep seeing videos of people saying I'm going to leave the UK, or I've left the UK, I'm going to Dubai or whatever. And I have to admit, I wouldn't dissuade somebody from doing what they want to do. But I do want to talk about a couple of realities here. And I thought the first one, if we look at America, I think with America, you've got to give it the next 6 months to actually see any outputs. It's interesting, the USA thing, and it reminds me of a story with a guy called Jerry. Jerry used to be this big old Irish guy I knew. Not that he's dead, I don't know if he's dead or not, I've just ain't seen him for years. But he used to come into the pub, and he always had like layers of clothes on, and his top jumper always had big holes in it. He used to like do potato picking on a tractor and things like that. You wouldn't think he had any money, but I think he had 14 or 16 houses in Worcester, because he invested his money since I think it was the 70s. But obviously he didn't waste his money except on alcohol. But a nice old Irish guy. It used to be him and Richard. They were always together. But anyway, so this story relates a bit to the way America is at the minute. So Jerry was telling me about his first job when he came to the UK was emptying the vending machines, you know, the gambling machines in the pubs, clubs, workmen's clubs, and the bars. And his boss said to him, I think he said he had a Vauxhall Viva, which is an old car, just to give you an idea how long ago it was. But his boss says, right, you know, Jerry, this is how you empty it, this is what you do, and whatever you do, don't steal more than 30%. And Jerry looks at him like, because the reason they'd come up with Jerry was he said that it was the job where he made most money in his life, because it's a cash business and a lot of it's not recorded. But he was talking about it. And he said to me, you know, his boss said to him, you know, don't steal more than 30%. So Jerry's a bit dumbfounded and a bit like taken aback. And he says, I don't steal anything. And his boss said to him, Jerry, you're either a liar or an idiot. So basically he'd factored into his business that people will steal. Why does this fit with America? Because USAID was stealing more than the 30%. When you actually get to a point you're destabilising the company that it doesn't make any money, or worse, it starts to bankrupt the business, that's when people start looking at your accounts. USAID, from my perspective and my thoughts, and I do say this is my opinion, I think the USAID was being used as a slush fund for the Democratic Party, which obviously wasn't very democratic of them, because it didn't let people know how much they'd been pilfering. But I said the positive story on there was, A, there was a bit of a joke with Jerry, but B, hopefully this is going to see some positive changes in America's accounts. And I know some people are already whinging about the tariffs. If you look into the tariffs, I think they're tit for tat anyway. So they're just counteracting tariffs that have been put on them as well. So in a free market economy, you shouldn't need tariffs. So let's see how that works out. So I can see you give America 6 months and you may actually see some positive changes. That's pretty much it on America. I think we've just got to leave it and let it work its way through the system. Because let's face it, they're going to uncover shed loads of stuff. Once they get into the IRS stuff, if they actually start auditing individuals and you see, I don't know, the head of one of these organisations from USAID was earning minimum wage but suddenly worth 15 million, there may be some repercussions, but we'll see. But we'll move on from that one. Like I said, we're not really interested in the negative side. It's not for us to deal with, and that's part of this, is realising that in life there's always cycles. There's always a pendulum that swings the other way eventually, and I think the Democrats expected things will just be in their pocket forever and a day, and now the pendulum's swung and they've been caught. So we'll see where that goes. I mean, because obviously Biden's away with it because he gave himself a pardon. The UK is in a different space, but its pendulum will swing. There's too much doom and gloom on the UK, and guys, what I can advise on that is just sit back a bit. All these people saying, I'm going to leave the UK, I hate it, blah, blah, blah. Don't focus on the crap. It's going to unravel itself quite quickly now. And I thought about a story for this as well, and the easiest one I thought was to do with a business owner. He owned I think it was a brewery. I think it was a brewery, I don't think it was a distillery. So his workers were striking because they, for fair pay or whatever, what they believed was fair pay, whatever the reasoning was. And they broke into the brewery, stole all the alcohol, had a party, burned the brewery down, because obviously that's what a smart move does. And the narrator of the story was asking the owner of the brewery why he was so relaxed as he sat looking out the window at the brewery on fire in his oxblood Chesterfield chair, drinking a scotch, looking non-concerned. The reality was, he says, come Monday, I'll still be rich. Come Monday, those people will be out of work and starving. Come Tuesday, they'll be coming to beg for their jobs back. Sounds doom and gloom, doesn't it? But it's not, because taxpayers is the person sat in the chair. So what's the meaning on it? Well, if you take it from the way the Labour government's acting, it's flooding the UK with people that shouldn't be in the UK. There's just no need for it. There's so many legislation pieces that say that wasn't their first harbour as a safe country, there's no reason to be accommodating, etc., etc. So that's them breaking into the brewery and drinking at the taxpayers' expense. Then all the pay rises they've given to all their supporters and the unions, that's at the taxpayers' expense, drinking all that free alcohol. And then they continue on all the stuff that they want to do at the expense of the business. That's them burning the place down. That's them building houses they have no money for, and there's no sort of real understanding of the logic of what that real value is, because I see a lot of stuff talking about the social housing and how it's going to be utilised for a lot of the new people arriving, etc. And to be perfectly honest, the economy can't afford it. If you're looking at the number of people that have left the UK that are millionaires, then you already understand that people are already leaving the country that have the capabilities to do it. The next ones under those are people like myself that deal with the infrastructure They deal with keeping things opening, keeping things running. If we all start departing, you've then got the brain drain that I think occurred in the 70s. That's the place burning down. I suspect, though, we won't get that far. I think we're already coming to the end. I think the financial black holes that Lammy, Reeves and Starmer and what's that other, Ed Miliband, isn't it? They've already created the flames. They're already there. They've already destroyed themselves. In the space of 6 months. I was surprised it lasted this long. I was expecting about 3 to 4 months, but hey ho. But the reality is the economy can't afford it. I expect you'll probably get the Bank of England play up soon. I expect you're probably going to start seeing some changes as we're now pushed into, well, we're already heading into recession, I believe. And although it all sounds doom and gloom, there is some light at the end of the tunnel. That's what I was sort of saying. They've flooded the country with people that can't offer the UK much in return. The demand for people that are plumbers, carpenters, gas fitters, skilled labour has been in demand for a long time. It's been in demand since I was at school. It's going to continue to be in demand. So my best advice to you guys is probably get a trade if you haven't got one. You know, because it's all right coming here, like me, living in Spain, but I'm stacking my money so I can finish. I'm not looking at the UK as my long-term home anymore, and it's not because I'm anti-British or anything. The reality is I don't believe in that narrow-mindedness of if you have to stay in Britain for the rest of your life. That's just stupid. That's crab mentality to me. I don't give a monkey's what anybody does with their life, unless they're getting restricted by others. They're going to go after pensions, I believe, next. Well, start looking at other options. What can you invest in overseas? What can you invest where you can rent it out or whatever off the radar? What can you siphon off to your kids early and put it in a way that they can't bloody rob you of it until you're dead? But at the same time, you could be generating rent off it. You could be getting rid of anything that's going to fall under inheritance tax. You just got to ride this government out. But it's the same when people are talking about the farmers. A lot of them do not generate a lot of revenue. You know, they own a lot of assets, but it doesn't generate cash. May sound like you know, from a financial point of view, owning a farm doesn't make a lot of sense. And I'd probably agree with you. But I know myself, I actually crave having a farm just because I like the lifestyle. Not being in debt and constantly hammered by the estate, but doing stuff with the land. I think it's ingrained in a lot of people. It's the same as I like the sea. I like being out there in the storms. I like the lightning hitting off the water. It must be my genetics somewhere. Slightly off tangent, but the point being is, if my heritage is sort of saying about living off land and the love of the sea, that's stuff that's been ingrained for hundreds of years. The Labour Party will come and go. The ideologies that have been placed on people will come and go. This is not the end. I don't think the great replacement will occur. Quite simply, like America, when you start squeezing people financially, you lose the vote. And they can flood the country with as many people as they like. The reality is, like people that like wind turbines and solar panels, they like them anywhere but where they live. So when you start hitting them in the tax pocket, eventually you end up with a rebellion. And when I say rebellion, it's not a case of overthrowing the government. It's a rebellion in the sense of you lose your votes. And Labour, I think, has already lost a lot of its core votes. And it's not the white vote, because I know a lot they love to push the racism. The reality is, if I was coming over to the UK, what was it, say in the 50s, in the 60s, the guys coming out of Africa when the old empire diminished and the only thing they had was their British passport, and instead of going back to India or whatever, they come into the UK or they come into the factories in the 50s to work. They know what they left behind. Those people's grandparents and parents remember where they come from and what the state of some of these countries are in. And those countries are in a state not because of poverty, but often because of corruption. Those votes may actually shift as well. It's the same as like in America. All those votes that Kamala and that thought they had, they didn't, because they flooded the country. They did stuff that was untrustworthy and unethical. And then they've got the audacity to whinge about it afterwards. UK's day's coming. It's not the end. It's only the beginning. Like I said, I'm not talking about overthrowing the government or anything bad like that. I'm just talking about the reality out there, guys, that when things swing one way, eventually they swing the other way. And that's what we're looking at now. The country will recover. If it doesn't, and it crashes, all those people that come from other parts of the world that like sponging and living off others, the system can't accommodate it indefinitely. The decline will get to a point where they actually want to leave. So it's a grim and bear it moment, unfortunately, guys. I know people go, it's nice for you, easy for you to say. Well, I'll be honest with you guys. My income's down 30% on its spending power. I'm financially hit as much as anybody else, but I'm not letting it shake me. I'm looking at it and going, oh well. As I was saying to my wife yesterday, well, funny enough, this afternoon, I spent ages last night going through a book list, because one of the things I've had since coming back to the rat race is it does suck the life out of me. I'll be perfectly blunt. My entrepreneurship and my seeing the bigger picture gets sucked out of me, because you deal with constant politics from people fighting battles over stuff that's irrelevant, but you're constantly watching the knives going in your back to try and circumvent it, or wondering if your job's going to last till next month. And not because of anything you've done. A lot of these people are surviving on throwing anybody else under the bus around them to avoid people looking at them. So yesterday I went and sorted a book list of 20 books out, and I'll be perfectly blunt, they're focused on sales and entrepreneurship. Why? Because when things get rough, hit sales. Everybody loves sales. Hate doing sales, but it can generate cash. My call centre, that made a sizable chunk of money when I was out in the Philippines. The rise of AI is making it easier to do stuff that you probably couldn't do 6 months ago. The rise of 3D printers and other tech out there is making it easier to establish new enterprises, and on a small scale. Because let's face it, with the bureaucracy in most of these businesses now, I just want to get to a point where I'm on a desk, I'm on a phone, and then I've got lots of people that I'm interwoven with, and I'm helping others make money, and I'll do my own bits and pieces, but I just want to get it to the point where I'm not going into an office anymore. What sort of areas am I looking at? Well, for a start, looking at recruitment, and then I look at training courses. You know, not the Udemy type stuff. I know a lot of people plug that type of stuff, but for me, I can see a gap in asset management and actually developing courses for people that are practical. So you could get a case of where you pay me to come into your business for the day, and then I go through asset management or whatever it is for the day, or ways to audit, whatever. There's that side of it, and I thought, well, the recruitment could bolt on the back of that, because if I'm going to do the marketing and sales to bring in one thing, I might as well do two. And then you start thinking, well, I might as well be an agent for services, because I look at the issues I see regularly about the quality of workmanship, how a lot of companies are managed now because they've got skill shortages. I've got access to a lot of good people where I can assist them with their businesses. You know, when I talk about that, I'm talking about like refurbishing offices, refurbishing banks, infrastructure buildings like clinics, hospitals, building things like buildings on the side of schools, you know, extra classrooms or quiet spaces or sensory rooms. No, I know a lot of you guys go, oh, that stuff already exists. And I agree with you. But then I'll show you this little thing. You see how small La Mata is? Because La Mata's not a big place, right? There is at least 6 real estate agents in La Mata. Oscar's parents have got one just up the road there. Morales is another one, I think it is. Alicante Real Estate's another one. Oh, in fact, we can now walk back to the house and we can go through a load of them. The reality is, that's a pure sales-orientated business where there's at least 6 real estate agents in this area all making a living. And I look at the way businesses are in the UK, and a lot of them are struggling to get good supply chain. The other side of it being, there's a lot of opportunity on the bureaucracy side, so there may be an option in there even for other people around health and safety, CDM, site audits. I don't want to get into full-blown construction, it's too much of a bloody headache, to be fair. I like the smaller projects, get in, get paid, get out. But reality is, there is enough work in the UK for people that are skilled. The big problem I have at the minute is how much tax we're paying. It's excessive. But we'll get there. If there's a problem, there's a solution. It's quiet down here today, isn't it? How did somebody get up there to do that graffiti? I've got to admit, that's one thing that does irritate me in the area. It's not only is there a lot of graffiti lately, it's bad graffiti. They are real words, by the way, if you can hear them. So the other angle on this is when people are looking at the cost of living in the UK, it's horrendous. But like myself, I just rent a room by the house here. House is nearly paid. I'm not locked into the UK. I go there because at the moment I can make more money there than I can here. But I'm going to get some sales stuff going. I may not need to go to the UK much longer. We'll see how that changes over the next year as I start to focus more on that. Because put it in perspective, I earn nearly 100,000 a year. So you do get to a point where, is it worth earning more to pay more tax? The answer is no. But actually starting to go part-time because I can make money here and be here more, that makes sense. So there's a real estate agent. There's your first one. What's that? Montinimo? I'm not sure if that one over there is a real estate agent. I think it might be as well. That one that says Money Wise is another real estate agent. Are they still in there? Just double checking in case they've moved. Looks like it might have changed. That was real estate. That's Oscar's parents' real estate agency, Flipping Rent. So we dismiss that one. Let's just call that 2. And you're probably thinking, why are you going and showing us all the real estate agents? The answer is, guys, is quite simply, there is always opportunity for sales. It's simple as that. Because if you look at it from my call centre days, in a call centre we did merchant processing, we did car insurance, we did solar panels, transcription. We did the transcription for Lilyhammer, for example. We did a lot of football matches. There you go, another one. Smile. Number 4. Number 5. Yeah, this one's another one. These prices have shot up as well. I think some of the properties are up by about 40% in value in the area as well. What's that? Is that another one? Or is that a SAT? Was that Max SAT? It must be cable TV and internet. Imo Costa, there's another one. What's that? We're at 6 now.
Como le he dicho eso esta mañana, digo, ¿dónde la has dejado? En la entrada.
That's Inmo Pancho, so that's 7. Like I said, it's not a big town. Well, the point being is, sales is a big arena. There's plenty of stuff to be selling. You don't have to be like here. You don't have to just be selling real estate. Ba, 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 ba. Alicante real estate. What's that, number 8 now? That's it. And bear in mind, all of these real estate agents have people working in them. Not today because it's Sunday, but they are all operational businesses. There you go, is Essentia real estate. This one looks more specific on villas. So these must be probably related to new developments. As you can see, there's some decent prices on there. Cheapest properties, 150. These are older properties. I know where that is. So it's not just new developments, it's doing older properties as well. So what's that, 9 or 10? If it's 9, JL Morales is number 10, which is next door. These are developers, builders, I think. So there's 10. Literally within walking distance. And the reason I bring up sales is the good thing about sales is it's a craft you can learn quite easily. You may not like it, but it is something you can learn. And there's Alicante Real Estate over there as well. It's obviously another one. So it's 11. Now, like I said, the reason I bring it up is with sales, you can start it part-time. With sales, you can find things to sell quite easily. If you're doing it direct sales, I would say people per hour, freelancer.com, all those types of things give you opportunities on direct sales, you know, where you're phoning people up, because lots of people don't like phoning people. But it's the traditional methods that actually have the highest reward. Getting told to F off about 50 times a day or more is part of dealing with it, but reality is it is likely to be the one that will generate more sales for you. Just finding the right product. And you can hone your skills. And the reason I'm bringing up the website stuff is it's a bit like when you're doing scripted sales. The scripts have been honed in by others already with the wording and how to do it. Maybe passing it on to the next person who'll actually close the deal if you're not a closer. You can learn this and you can start from home. You can do it in your spare time. You can make as much money as a full-time job in a couple of hours if you've got the right product and got the right sales technique with the right leads. But I will say, it can be horrible sometimes. You could have weeks where you don't sell anything and take a lot of abuse all day. But it all depends what you want to achieve. And the other side of this as well, guys, is bearing in mind you've got the rise of the AI. You can use your chat GPTs and your, what's the new one out of China? I can vision a whale, but I can't remember the name of the bloody thing. But the fact is you can utilise that. You can get it to help you develop your sales strategy. It can help you find what to sell in your area. It can help you develop your own business entities. And I know this has gone way off tangent from where we started, which is the state of, well, the UK, Europe, etc. But as I said, like yin and yang, it will eventually balance out. In the same way, I would say the chances of things improving are getting closer, not further away, because I think we've been on that downward spiral and it can only go so far when Rachel Reeves can't do her accounts. So the UK side, I think we've got some shift coming. Europe, shifts are coming without a doubt now. You can see Germany's already shifting. You can see France is already shifting. Spain's moving as well. Sanchez isn't holding on to Europe as well as he was. You've got to bear in mind he's in a coalition government. But I believe his wife's been caught in a scandal and his brother, or his brother-in-law, separate scandals. But one of the things I will say about Spain, though, it does have more of a socialist environment, but I don't see it here as giving everything up on a silver platter the way the UK does. Go and have a free hotel, have a free healthcare, have free this, have free that. I don't find Spain as that subservient to people that aren't from here. So I do expect Spain will be okay. I expect problems in France because I think the left have got a weird grip there. But I'm not getting into the politics of France. We'll just see how that pans out on the next elections. In Germany, he's obviously getting helped along with changing more to AfD by people running people over. The political views are changing. And it's not that I'm pro-right or pro-left. I'm actually more libertarian generally. I'm a big fan of less government. I'm a big fan of people making their own decisions on what they want to spend their money on rather than the government. But maybe that's just me. Anyway guys, that's it. Hope it was a bit positive for you. Thanks for watching.